Are you the type of person that enjoys getting in your RV, hitting the open road, and seeing what the great outdoors have to offer? But sometimes you might need a little bit of guidance on the navigation side of how to get to your final destination. If you are, you're gonna wanna stay tuned for this video because we've created a product specifically for you. This is our DNR-1008RVS, and it was specifically created with Garmin mapping software for larger vehicles like RVs or semi-trucks. Now this receiver follows the chassis of similar 10.1 models that we've released here at Kenwood. Now if you haven't experienced these receivers yet, they come with all of the bells and whistles. This is a premium receiver with premium features. We'll do a full series on what kind of features you have access to when utilizing your DNR-1008RVS. But in this specific video, I want to give you an overview of what you could expect to see when you open up the box. To kick things off, let's talk about the first thing you'll see when you look at your receiver, and that is the screen itself. Now, since this is part of our 10.1-inch family, that means it has the larger floating panel style screen. Now, the screen itself is the best quality screen that we've ever produced, being a 10.1-inch optically bonded capacitive screen. Optically bonded means that we filled the small gap with a clear resin that's traditionally found in between the LCD panel and the exterior of the glass. Now, this helps us out with a multitude of things. For example, on a bright sunny day, you do not have to worry about there being any screen washout from that sunlight coming through the window. So when you're navigating those bright open roads, this optically bonded process will help ensure that you have full view of your receiver screen regardless of where you're at. Now over here is the chassis of the DNR-1008RVS. This is what holds all of those premium features that I talked to you about in the very beginning. Now in addition to that, it's also very versatile in how this receiver can mount, which is why when you start unboxing all of the products that come with it, you'll notice products like these. Let's say, for example, that you want to extend the mount of the receiver screen. These will allow you to cover the metal brackets that would then be exposed. In addition to that, this is one of the most important steps that I could share with you throughout your installation process. This is a plastic cover, which goes over this to cover all of the metal that's left to be exposed whenever you attach the screen to the receiver's chassis. Now, if this is not secured onto this mounting bracket, the receiver screen itself will not power up. So make sure whenever you're connecting this, you get this plastic panel installed properly. In front of that, we have all of the cabling we need. The receiver's harness, which holds the power, the ground, the speaker outputs, parking brake wire, VSS, which is vehicle speed sense, and so much more. We have an included USB extension, an external Bluetooth mic, and the GPS antenna that we need to mount so that we can have access to all of those great features that are included in the Garmin navigation. Next to that, we have a metal mount, which you can attach the GPS antenna to help provide a better signal to the satellites in the sky. Over here, we have all of our necessary mounting hardware, the screws that we need to attach the screen to the chassis, plus the screws we need to mount this plastic panel we talked about to the chassis. And then these screws are mounting screws in the event you need to ISO mount your receiver's chassis and the dash. These are properly threaded for all of the inserts that you see on the side here. So let's go over the back side of this receiver briefly, and then we'll dive further into all of these features throughout this series. Starting over here, this receiver will feature an HDMI input. This is where that would go into. Right below that, we have a Sirius XM satellite antenna input. We have an iDataLink Maestro compatibility input, our dash camera input, which is used in conjunction with the DRV-1008R in the event you would like a dash camera connected directly to the receiver's screen. Below that, we have the receiver's power harness we talked about earlier, an audio video input here, the GPS antenna connection, we have the USB input that we talked about as well, AM/FM antenna input, a video input so that we can run video in from an external source, a video output so that we can run a video to separate screens inside of the vehicle we're installing this into. We also have some necessary camera inputs in the event you want to cover the exterior of the vehicle in cameras for enhanced safety while you're driving. So we have a rear view camera input. We have a third view camera input, which would allow you to install a left or right camera, or in some cases an additional rear view camera for a change in view. We have the dash camera input, which is where you would connect the video if you were installing the DNR-1008RVS that we talked about. Okay, so let's move these out of the way so that we can take a look at these last few before we dive further into these features throughout the series. Down here we'll have our rear, front, and subwoofer pre-outs so that we can install this with external amplifiers to increase the quality of sound in our ride. We have an audio out, and then right next to that we have the mic input for that external Bluetooth mic. So now you know what to expect when you open up your new DNR-1008RVS. You're gonna wanna stick around though, because it's only getting better from here as we dive into more videos talking about how to set this receiver up and what kind of great premium features will be found in our new 10.1 floating panel receiver specifically made for RVs and larger vehicles.
Kenwood.